Hi, my name is Eleanor Bergstein. I'm a writer living in New York City. I am reading from a statement by Khaled el-Masri, a German citizen of Lebanese descent who was a car salesman before he was detained in December 2003. The U.S. policy of extraordinary rendition has a human face, and it is mine. I was born in Kuwait and raised in Lebanon. In 1985, I fled to Germany in search of a better life. I became a citizen and started my own family. I have 5 children. On December 31st, 2003, I took a bus from Germany to Macedonia. When we arrived, Macedonian agents confiscated my passport and detained me for 23 days. I was not allowed to contact anyone. I was forced to record a video saying I had been treated well. I was handcuffed, blindfolded, and taken to a building where I was severely beaten. My clothes were sliced from my body with a knife or scissors, and my underwear was forcibly removed. I was thrown to the floor, my hands pulled behind me, a boot placed on my back. When my blindfold was removed, I saw men dressed in black wearing ski masks. I was put in a diaper, a belt with chains to my wrists and ankles, earmuffs, iPads, a blindfold, and a hood. I was thrown into a plane, my legs and arms spread-eagled and secured to the floor. I felt 2 injections and became nearly unconscious. I felt the plane take off, land, and take off. When we landed again, I was beaten and left in a dirty and cold concrete cell with a bottle of putrid water. I was taken to an interrogation room where I saw men dressed in the same black clothing and ski masks as before. They stripped and photographed me and took blood and urine samples. I was returned to the cell. The following night, my interrogations began. They asked me if I knew why I had been detained. I did not. They told me I was now in a country with no laws and that I understand what that meant. They asked me many times whether I knew the men who were responsible for the September 11th attacks, if I had traveled to Afghanistan, and if I associated with certain people in Germany. I told the truth, that I had never been in Afghanistan and had never been involved in any extremism. I asked repeatedly to meet with a representative of the German government or a lawyer, or to be brought before a court. My requests were ignored. In desperation, I began a hunger strike. After 27 days without food, I was taken to meet with 2 Americans, the prison director and another man referred to as the boss. I pleaded with them to release me or bring me before a court, but the prison director replied that he could not release me without permission from Washington. He also said he believed I should not be detained in the prison. After 37 days without food, I was dragged to the interrogation room, where a feeding tube was forced through my nose into my stomach. I became extremely ill. I was taken to meet an American who said he had traveled from Washington and who promised I would soon be released. I was also visited by a German-speaking man who explained that I would be allowed to return home, but warned that I was never to mention what had happened because the Americans were determined to keep it secret. Almost 5 months after I was kidnapped, I was again blindfolded, handcuffed, and chained to an airplane seat. I was told we would land in a country other than Germany, but that I would eventually get to Germany. After we landed, I was driven into the mountains. My captors removed my handcuffs and blindfold and told me to walk down a dark, deserted path and not look back. I was afraid I would be shot in the back. I turned a bend and encountered 3 men who asked why I was illegally in Albania. They took me to the airport where I bought a ticket home. My wallet had been returned to me. I had long hair, a beard, and had lost 60 pounds. My wife and children had gone to Lebanon, believing I had abandoned them. We are now together again in Germany. I still do not know why this happened to me. I have been told that the American Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice, confirmed in a meeting with the German Chancellor that my case was a mistake, and that German officials later denied she said this. No one from the American government has ever contacted me or offered me any explanation or apology for the pain they caused me. I am Eleanor Bergstein. I am a writer. I am living in New York. describing this in my office because it's where I do the work that I want to make a difference in the world. I think it is important to reckon with torture because it can happen to any one of us if it is done in a lawless and irresponsible and unconscionable way. I think we all need to stand up and make sure that certainly no government should do it, but most of all we need to stand up and make sure that our government, which does not represent this to us, represents this to the world and to any one person like this man whose story I've read. Thank you.